Hey guys, welcome to day 2 of our 30 days videos on communication and public speaking. So we're looking at everything communication, everything public speaking, how to be more effective as a presenter, how to be more persuasive. Because at the end of the day, you truly are successful as your ability to communicate. And communication and persuasion cut across a broad spectrum of endeavors and industries. So you see persuasion, you see communication in even the academics, you see persuasion in business, you see persuasion in parenting, you see persuasion in advertising, you see communication in public speaking. You just see it cutting across a vast industry. And it's very, very pertinent that you master the art and the science. And what I do know is that there are different kinds of presentations. There are different kinds of communication. So you have what is called a pitch. A pitch is usually given when you want to get funders, when you want to get investors or customers to give you resources for your business. That's what a pitch is. And a pitch is something that a lot of people do like on a very regular basis, people who are entrepreneurs, and you need to understand how to do it. So we also have what we call not a pitch, we also have what's called a manifesto. Right now in the political season in my country, and there's a document called the manifesto. There's also the manifesto that is presented. And then you have vote of thanks. People have to give vote of thanks at the end of their meetings. You have a welcome address. You have all different kinds of presentations, including a valedictory speech, eulogy, a toast given at an event. And there's also such a thing as a paper presentation. Now, a paper presentation is very unique to the academic settings and to certain events. There are certain events where a paper is presented. So I'm going to give you a textbook definition and then I'm going to do some kind of explanation. A paper presentation involves the preparation of a substantive piece of writing, about 5,000 words. And then the presentation of that paper is done or given to a panel who have the opportunity to question it. So you write down something on the subject. It could be on business, it could be on the environment, it could be on global change, it could be on hunger, it could be on the Human Development Index, it could be on anything. And then you present that paper in front of a panel or before a panel. So the panel also have an opportunity to look at it and then question it. So this is how a conference where a paper is delivered usually is like. So you have people at the high table who serve as the panel. And then you have people, the general public, people who are coming there to listen to that paper presentation. And of course you have you who will be standing, and very often you will be reading the paper to the hearing of the people and the hearing of the panel, and they will have the opportunity to vet it. So a paper is read, but it is read in such a way, that you are not reading. Your tonality is different, your mannerisms, your physiology, your tone, and the way you deliver that paper should be different, because it's beyond just you writing. It's not just a script, it's not something you're writing, it's something that you're presenting, and so you must deliver it very strongly. While the participants can be reading through, you are delivering it as a presentation. Now, another thing you also notice about a paper presentation is that instead of using the traditional paper, a lot of people in big organizations these days and in massive conferences, they use what is called a teleprompter. A teleprompter is a screen that has written on it what you are talking about. The likes of Barack Obama, when they're giving their speeches, use teleprompters. The likes of Professor Yemi Osinbajo, when he's speaking, also uses a teleprompter. When we were much younger as kids, we used to look at NTA, and we see these newscasters present and literally not forget their lines. And I used to wonder, how are they able to do it? That signifies they're very intelligent. However, when I got into the media, when I started doing television presentations myself, I realized that they also used a teleprompter. They read, and they read as though they're not really reading. So in delivering a paper, there are times and the occasions where you may not have to read your paper, but literally use a teleprompter as you present. So again, for emphasis, a paper presentation involves the preparation of a substantive piece of writing, about 5,000 words, and then the presentation of that paper to a panel who have the opportunity to question it. So when the panel has questioned it, they've talked about it, they take that paper and usually they would introduce it to a journal. So in most conferences that papers are delivered, there's something called a journal. The journal can be physical, can be a hard copy journal that people can read in the future, and it can also be online. So you see, the paper thing is done mostly in the academic circle. So people who are professors, people who are doctors, who are PhD holders, who are doing their masters, you understand the concept of having a paper. So there are two kinds of paper presentations, or two kinds of papers that you may need to deliver. The first kind of paper is called a research paper, and the second kind of paper is called a conference paper. Now there's a difference between a research paper and a conference paper. Let's start with a research paper. A research paper is a paper done for people of a peculiar or unique industry. Let's say that you're an engineer and you're supposed to talk about the density or something, any technical topic, and then you're supposed to deliver a paper on it. So you're giving that paper in front of fellow engineers like you, and in that kind of situation, your paper presentation is a little technical. You're talking about new findings, new start, new research, technical stuff, and the people who are listening to you, get to hear you speak. It's a research paper. It's supposed to be that technical. It's technically advanced, and it's to people of your kind of industry. So that's a research paper. The second kind of papers are called conference papers or conference paper. This is usually done in front of the public. So if you're an engineer and you're doing something on density of wires or densities of pipelines, and then you are now delivering that paper in front of the general public, you're trying to explain things to them, that is a conference paper, because the difference between a research paper and a conference paper is in its technicality. So research papers are more technical, while conference papers are not that technical. So let's look at how can you go about putting together a paper and even delivering a paper. I will list out a few ideas that I'm very certain will help you. Number one, in writing your paper, you must have the audience at the back of your mind. You want to figure out, this paper I'm writing, is it a research paper or is it a conference paper? Is it a research paper or is it a conference paper? It's very key that you remember this, and it's very key that you understand this. Is it a research paper or is it a conference paper? Now, again, a paper should be about 5,000 words and not more. However, there is going to be a time limit. One of the things you must learn to do as a public speaker is to adhere to time limits in writing and in presenting. It's also very important that when you're delivering a paper, that you, of course, rehearse your paper in front of somebody, read it in front of a friend or a family, someone that you respect, or an accountability partner, someone that believes in you and is helping you succeed. So read that in front of him. Let the person, vet it, listen to you, and have a feel whether that presentation is good or not. And of course, in starting in speaking and delivering that presentation, you want to start confidently. So writing, maintaining eye contact while you're reading and still maintaining eye contact. So you read a certain portion, you pause, you do some explaining, and then you make. So writing a paper is critical to your success. Now let me give you a few formats, and this is not a very long training. It's just to make you realize that there is a kind of presentation called a paper presentation. An occasion may demand. So if someone tells you, come write a paper, now you know what to do. The first question you want to ask is it a research paper or is it a conference paper? What kind of audience am I reaching out to? This paper I am delivering, should I go all technical or should I simplify it so that I can, reveal it to, give it to people who, of course, there has to be a panel. That panel will vet, and in putting your papers together, a few things must be in place, because at the end of the day, once you've done your presentation and the panel has looked at it, they're going to ask you a few questions. And so a paper should have a cover title. The title should be attractive, should make a lot of sense. A paper should also have quotations. You must quote and reference people, and the paper should also have citations. So those are the ingredients and the elements that a paper should have. So let me just do as a quick review. First of all, realize that people deliver papers in academic settings. It's very common on different subjects, and you may just be called upon to deliver a paper. How ready would you be? And it's very simple to go about this. Make up your mind to know what kind of paper are you delivering. Are you delivering a research paper or are you delivering a conference paper? Another thing you want to do is, when you're putting your paper together, have your audience at the back of your mind. You're going to write and type it, present it to the panel and to members of the public or people who are there to participate in that conference before you go ahead. Make sure that your paper answers questions, all the possible questions that may come up. Cite your sources and also make a lot of quotations. That is how to deliver a paper. I hope this makes sense. God bless you, and see you for the next video on communication and public speaking.